And everywhere it is that we populate, that's why I said cursed in the city, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are the ones that populate those so-called bad areas, right? Same thing when it says now cursed in the field. We talked about slavery back then, but how do we bring that up to today? Think about trying to get a job. How hard is it for blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans to get jobs? Now, yes, we've been able to fight through our way and get to put ourselves in a better position, but how hard do we have to fight compared to our counterparts, right? It's being researched, and you have data that even shows that a black man with an education, it's harder for him to get, let's say, like a corporate job than a so-called white man that has been to jail, been to prison, and doesn't have any education, right? So we're seeing how these curses are things that we go through. Nobody else goes through this as a majority. We all go through these curses as a majority, right? But you may think, well, other people may go through this too, right? Well, let's keep reading on some other curses. Give me verse 32.
Verse 32. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given into another people. And thine eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long.
Right.
And there shall be no might in thine hand.
So read it from the beginning again.
Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given into another people.
So as a nation of people whose sons and daughters were taken away from them and given to somebody else. Did it happen to Chinese people? I don't remember that in history. Did it happen to Arabs? Did it happen to Japanese? No, it only happened to so-called blacks in 1619 with the English. And then you had Hispanics and Native Americans around 1492 with Christopher Columbus, Hernan Cortez, Ponce de Leon with the conquistadors that came over to this land and killed the so-called Native Americans and Hispanics and took them back to Spain. A lot of times we don't understand that we are the same exact people. We've just been separated through slavery. So the people that conquered us, they spoke English. The people that conquered them spoke Spanish, and they separated us, and that's how we have grown to think that we're not the same people, right? Give me that, hold that, was it Jeremiah, was it 14:22?
Jeremiah chapter 50 and verse 33. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together.
So when you read and you look, did you bring in a flyer? So we have the children of Israel were separated into two different kingdoms. You had Southern Kingdom, which consisted of what we know today as blacks, Haitians, and Jamaicans. And then you had Northern Kingdom, which consisted of Hispanics and Native Americans, right? So read that again, which they call Judah and Israel. Read that.
Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together.
And we are oppressed together. Look at the things that we go through as a people. Yeah, you see like how you have the George Floyds, the Mike Browns, the Breonna Taylors, the Tamir Rice, right? You have all these people, you know, the same things that we go through, same things happening with Hispanics and Native Americans. They're getting killed on a high rate. They have taken Hispanics, taking their children, putting them on the border, having them stay in foil blankets, separating them away from their families and things like that, right? So we understand that we've been oppressed together. We haven't realized for years that we are the exact same people. And now it's time for us to understand that and come together. Read that. So now go back to verse 32, though.
Verse 32, thy sons and thy daughters shall be given into another people.
So our sons and our daughters, this is the curses letting us know how we know who the children of Israel are. Our sons and our daughters were taken away from us. Read.
And thine eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long.
We couldn't get our children back. We didn't have no might. We didn't have no military. We didn't have none of that, right? They took our children. They separated us, and we could never get them back. Like I said, we bring that, let's see, we talk about how that happened back then, right? Well, let's bring it up today. How do these curses fit us today? DHS. Somebody can call you about your children that may not even be true, right? But yet they'll still take your children away from you and you won't be able to get them back. The same thing happening with our Hispanic brothers and sisters at the border. talking about how they're illegal aliens when really they were the ones here first. And then they separate their children and take them from them and they never see them again. Shalom, Most High Christ blessings. Officer Seth with IUIC Tulsa. Right now, we're asking you to subscribe. Stay connected to our YouTube channel. That way, you don't even have to search for it. You'll get the notification right then and right there. So subscribe, stay tuned, stay connected to all our content. Most High Christ bless. So, yeah, these curses were back then, but we still see them prevalent today. We still see how they affect us today and the situations that we go through, how we see that this is us as a people. Go ahead.
And there shall be no might in thine hand.
All right, now jump to, I'm going to just kind of hit different ones. Do 48.
Verse 48. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee.
So the Bible says, mind you, this isn't us speaking. This isn't something that we thought of and that we wrote down, right? So read that part again from the beginning.
Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies.
So the Bible says there's going to come a time, because you chose not to keep my laws, that you're going to have to serve your enemies, right? Now, go ahead.
Which the Lord shall send against thee.
We understand that this happened because God sent them upon us because we chose not to keep his commandments. Read.
In hunger.
And hunger. So let's stop there. If we want any type of food, and we talking about races of people, right? What race of people controls the distribution of food in America? White people, right? Go ahead. So it says we shall serve them in hunger. So think about when the pandemic hit. Everybody was rushing. Everybody was trying to get this, trying to get that. We couldn't get it, right? Why? Because we don't control what goes into the grocery stores and stuff like that. Same thing back then. When we were on the plantations, we had to work and they gave us whatever it was that they allowed us to have. That's why we have, that's why we eat a lot of certain things that we weren't necessarily supposed to eat, but that's all that they gave us. So we call it a heritage, but yet, or a culture, I should say, but we never used to eat chitlins. We never used to eat pig feet. We never used to eat those things. Those were the bottom that they gave to us because that's what they allowed us to have, right? Go ahead.
And then thirst.
Same thing with water. We can't open and close a beach. We can't do that, right? Think about the water bill we got to pay. Water falls freely from the sky, but guess what? We still got to pay for it. Go ahead.
And then nakedness.
And as I'm going through these things, think about who controls all of this. Who is the one that controls? Because remember at the beginning, it said you should serve your enemies, right? And thirst. And hunger, and then nakedness. Same thing with clothes, right? Go ahead.
And in want of all things.
So guess what? Anything that you wanted, when y'all wanted the barber's license, who'd you have to go to? White people. When I wanted a car, look, it ain't just you. Guess what? When I wanted a car, when I wanted a license, who did I have to go to? I had to go to the government. I had to make sure that I had the proper documentation so that I could legally drive out here, right? So read that again.
And want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron.
So now maybe you didn't, we do, but I'm just saying, okay, maybe our people didn't understand the beginning, right? Maybe we were still kind of on the fence of who these people really were. Now read that part.
And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck.
Okay. So now we see, where's those flyers that you brought in? So we have these depictions right here. You want to take one real quick? So these are certain things that happen to us as a people. My bad, I know you're cutting. And so this kind of gives you a visual, as we explain this. So read that part again.
And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck.
So in history, who put yokes of irons upon blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans' necks? So-called white men, right? Go ahead.
Until he has destroyed thee.
Meaning it wasn't going to continue to happen forever. We don't have yokes of irons on our necks now, but why? They took them off because what? They pretty much control us now. So think about how we act towards one another. We never used to be a people that would see each other and automatically have hatred for each other. We never used to be like that. That was bred into us. So When you read books like the Willie Lynch letter, right, how they pitted us against each other, how they pitted the man against the woman against the man, how they pitted light skin against dark skin, how they put in systems in place that that continues to destroy us, right? Same thing we see today. You see how they created an environment to where we lived in poverty, and then they give us something illegal, and us trying to get up out of that situation, what do? We run to it. I'm not here sitting saying that drugs is fine to sell or whatever the case may be, but our people see an opportunity to try to get a better life for themselves, and they take it. These are the things we've all been wrapped up in.
What is a nation? Nation is family. Nation is community. Nation is men leading by example. Nation is women's support. Nation is children with role models. Nation is unity. Nation is